Breakoffs and opening routes are a great way to set the pace on the front end of a game and carry that momentum forward. They're of course most effective in search and destroy, but they are also extremely useful in hardpoint, control, and even domination. So today we're covering breakoffs and opening routes, what they are, and how to use them. You know what to do, so let's hop right in with tip number 1. What is a breakoff? A breakoff refers to a route that you take as soon as a game starts. Breakoff routes should allow you to reach a goal as fast and as efficiently as possible. Those goals can include gaining map control, reaching the objective before the enemy, or securing spawns for future hills. A great example of this is on Bocage hardpoint. If you're starting on Grandma's side, you'll want to secure spawns for the second hill as early as possible because the first hill is usually highly contested, and P2 is one of those money hills, meaning it is not easy to break but easy to hold. So a great route in that case is to rush up the street, drop into river, being careful to check for anyone who is anticipating your push, and then making your way behind the enemy and securing those back spawns for P2. You can take a peek mid-map if you want as you move up and pick off a player, however it might be smart to just ignore any players who haven't seen you slip through and push forward, because if you eliminate them, the enemy team will know to look for you and your attempt at flipping could fail. Moving on to tip number 2, you should have a breakoff route for every side of every map. As you play and test out various breakoffs and opening routes, you'll find which one works best for you. Regardless, you want to try to begin each game or round with intention. Don't just run into the fray with no plan. The reason I say each side of every map is because depending on the side you start on, your goals will likely be different. Other than obviously in search and destroy, as your goal will alternate between sides of offense and defense, but also in hardpoint, control, and even domination. The important thing to keep in mind while you're testing out different routes is timings, meaning if your opponent is taking a route on the opposite side with the goal of reaching the same destination as you need to be aware of who will reach it first and at which point during the route you should expect to run into an enemy. For example, the defensive spawn on Tuscan Search and Destroy was actually recently moved up just a couple of feet, which now allows a defensive team to reach mid-map much quicker than the offensive team. Those few feet completely shifted the dynamic of the map primarily because of timings. Mastering these timings allow you to anticipate and counter the enemy effectively. Which brings me to tip number 3, how do you choose a route or opening break? There are a few factors you want to take into account, like how can I reach my strategic goal fastest? What route might the enemy team be taking? And how can my route be countered? The last one is an important one because you always want to think 2 steps ahead, because the fastest route isn't always the safest. For instance, going back to Tuscan, if you spawn on the fountain side and you want to get into the bottom church, the fastest route is of course to go straight through mid. But as we just covered, the defending team will reach mid-map before you, and they'll likely have someone either top church watching your alley or flooding through the bottom church into mid. The route I might choose in this scenario would be to go top roofs, drop down into well, and cut through mid from an angle that not many people are checking this early on, at least in hardpoint and sometimes even in search and destroy depending on who you're playing against. But even if they are top church, their line of sight will be obstructed, especially if you hug the wall and quickly slide under them. At that point you can clear out top church, pinch the enemy players on field, or if it's hardpoint, secure the spawns for P2. What's great about this route is that it also allows you to clear mid-map of any enemies trying to gain map control in that area and trap your team back in their spawn. Click here if you're an SMG player and want to be more impactful on the map, but that does it for today's video. I'll see you tomorrow on day 7 of 30 of posting every day. You know what to do. My name is Drew, this was Sablehound, thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, I want to be famous.